Oh, it's Advantage, not ASAP.
Yeah, no,
Okay, I texted you wrong now.
Advantage Technology. Jessica, do you know? Advantage would be,
Thank you. Is that the new licenses for the special ed cameras or the recorders?
it says environmental sensor, environmental wireless sensors for networks. On the cameras.
Unless they're the audio recording. This looks like the audio recording amounts.
Sensing like for the pickup of noises. I could be it. I'm not 100% sure.
From Advantage Technologies.
She went to go.
On the next page, on page 43, under supplies, there's two different spots. The second one and the fifth one that says exceeds the outstanding amount on this balance, or on this blanket. What's going with that?
It is a setting that's set in the system. You'll see the warning signal. That happens frequently when we go over the original setting. I'll let Sarah explain it because I'll butcher the explanation, but that happens sometimes. It's not anything to be alarmed about, but we'll let her explain to you what happens. It's a setting in Univers.
If it happens all the time, why don't we change the amount that we have the,
It might have something to do with the end of the year, but I want to let her explain it to you.
okay, okay. No problem.
Hey, Sarah.
Yeah.
Dixie's asking about the warning that says it exceeds the amount on the blanket PO. Can you explain that to her?
It always happens at the end of the year. It just means, I don't know why they do it, because even when we increase it, it still does it. Those are some of the ones that we increased, we went over, that originally it was a blanket. It gives that warning
Okay,
that it's over the original.
because
even
the threshold was set, even if you changed it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. And I've talked to
Mine
the
was
state a couple
71.
times about it, and they don't know how to change that, so.
That makes sense.
They just keep saying environmental sensor. Air quality sensor? Six
Air quality.
air quality sensors.
I bet that is it, because we have quarterly, I mean, they act like it's, we're gonna call it pleasant if you have someone complain of an
About
air
indoor air
quality.
quality.
That's part of the can. It's a special weekend.
So is that a one-time charge or is that?
It's the software we pay annually for that.
So,
And you can probably tell how it's paid. How are we paying for it, Sarah?
It's a thing for our technology.
Mhm.
You have the bill.
I just have the cloud monitor.
Oh, the Verkada.
Thank you.
The Verkadas are the sensors that, or the cameras that we're using. That's the program that operates the special ed cameras.
Yes.
The Verkada is
The
what's
Verkada.
online that we can see, and it's probably listed that way, sensor, because it picks up, the way that the camera works is it picks up if there's movement in the room and activates it. So that's probably why it's calling it a sensor, it's just throwing everybody off, but yeah, that's what it is.
is that a annual charge?
Sensors.
Well, there's the-
It might be the license for 1 year
It's
is
an annual.
an annual
Mhm.
fee, 6 times, yeah, that's what it is.
And that's for the special ed.
The special ed self-contained classrooms that we have to record.
The bathroom.
And how about
Self-contained.
But we
the
cannot pay
bathroom?
that out of
This is for
special
the
ed.
restroom.
We can't pay that special ed.
They're wondering how we do that.
The restrooms are just sound,
Audio.
audio only, right, yeah, and those have to be in the August 1st.
They're in now.
They're up and running, did we test them?
Yeah, Tony confirmed that this afternoon, that they're in. They've already been installed and ready to roll, that they're operating now.
And there's one of those in the school.
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
In each bathroom?
Not
That's
each
the ones
bathroom.
designated as being used by our self-contained students.
Yeah, environmental sensors.
Does anybody else have any questions, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving the consent items, signify by saying aye. Opposed, and they're approved 5-0. Next item of business is the budget update. It is attachment 6. Where did I say that? There she
I
is.
moved to corners. All right, this is, June 30th, expenditures for object reports that we always go over. And of course, we're at that time of the year where we will operate in the 2 years for a little while. Because these encumbrances, all the accounts payable that we still owe have not come out of these encumbrances, so we won't have the true reflection of where we actually stand as of 6:30 until all of that is cleared out. So, of course, the, salaries and stuff like that, we've all paid those, all of that has been taken care of. And we're just waiting for everything else to get, paid that's still remaining, to see where we will be at the end of the year.
How soon do you expect that to happen?
As soon as all of those invoices come in.
Well, okay, so in other words, there was no way to know.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't
Next
be.
30 days.
Yeah, the next 30 days or so, by the end of August. We should know exactly where, because we essentially close our books August 31st.
They won't put you in jail, will they?
I hope not, but you're
I'll
gonna
bail
visit,
you
right?
out. I'll bail you
You'll
out.
bail me out, that's even better.
Listen, Parker.
Yeah.
And it's,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But you can see like the comparison for this year and last year, and it's not always accurate because we've been using those COVID funds. We moved more salary over this year. So these numbers, everything, all that funding runs out September 30th, so things will look a little bit different for this upcoming year.
If you don't spend it at that time, they would take it,
It's going to be spent.
but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
if you
You
have
lose
that
it.
luxury, they would take it.
They would, yeah, you lose it.
Okay, any questions for the budget update? So moving on to new business. Item 1 is request for pre-approval of invoices to be paid for the 2024-2025 school year.
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second on the floor. Is there any discussion? I had a question about eaches. It says a pre-K instructor, and the estimated cost is $85,000. Surely we don't have a teacher that's in pre-K for eaches that makes $85,000. I think
That's gonna also be the aid, it's gonna be a combination of what we pay associated with the students that are ours that go to that location.
okay. That I agree that,
Yeah,
but I thought that was a little hefty for someone who works for eaches.
they take a certain percent of our, the per
Oh,
student we get for
yeah.
pre-K students.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, all those in favor of approval of the request for pre-approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And it carries 5-0. Now, Josh, you want to talk with us about bus?
Yeah, so our allowance, we have $249,665, which was not enough to cover the cost of two. But we have a carryover of $54,901, which covers the cost of two buses. It'll be exactly the same buses we've been getting. I think it's actually about $4,000 cheaper this year than what it was last year, so the cost went down on those buses, and I didn't change anything.
Okay, hold on just a second. I'm new at this, so I have to get a motion.
Okay.
So we can talk about it.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, now you can go ahead.
$249,665 was our allowance that we have for our fleet. And we have a carryover of $54,901, which will cover the cost of those 2 new buses.
When does that money come about? When does that money come about?
Oh, they sent it out, last year they sent it out around December or November, the year before, I think they were even later, and I don't know that they have a set.
And it's around the end of February, 1st of March when we receive those other buses.
Have we gotten all the buses that
Mhm.
we've
We're caught
ordered already?
We're caught up. Everything's here.
Other than the electric one, right?
Yes. I saw one today at the
But the state
transportation
hasn't
conference.
given any indication at all about it.
Not-
As
not
far
to
as the
us.
ones we ordered and paid for.
Now, some of the counties have a date. I talked to several directors today, but we don't have a date yet.
Where are they, those electric buses that they're, where are they being built? What,
They're being built in Charleston,
they have a place?
in Kanawha County.
Okay.
That was part of the original agreement, not their stuff with all of them.
Okay.
So
you're getting
Yeah,
on.
now-
Now
we-
we purchased so many, the state purchased so
Will
many,
you charge
they
it here?
opened
We will. We'll put a
operations
charger
in the state.
Here we are.
But it,
Like running one field route, that's it?
yeah, it's not gonna go far. Well, I think it can do these flat runs. Talking to Brent Nelson of Petersburg, Grant County, they have one, it did well from what he said.
This is totally free. Is there any cost associated involved?
Yeah, the charger,
This is charged.
the charger.
Have you gotten any information like how far it charged? Does it matter like if it's level when they travel as opposed to going up a mountain or down a mountain?
Yes, so when it goes down and you come off the accelerator, it actually charges the batteries back up. When Grant County left Petersburg to go to East Hardy last year, Brent actually called me and asked me if he got there and didn't have any power, could he use a diesel bus to come back. But when he got there, he was 20% higher than when he left Petersburg because of all the downhill runs where they let it charge back up.
Kind of like Fred Flintstone and Barney.
How, do these new buses have seat belts?
All of them have seat belts, but not on every road. You have 2 per bus, but we have other harnesses that if we need more than 2, we can add those in there.
No air conditioning,
No,
what's that cost?
$12,000 per.
So now tell me again, there's 2 per seat.
There's 1 seat on the whole bus.
It's a special
But
needs
just
seat,
The
correct?
special needs seat is the only one with seat belts.
Because I think that the federal people are getting ready to say we have to have seat belts on the school buses.
Okay.
They
They didn't mention it. We had a transportation conference that nobody mentioned it today, but they make a aftermarket harness for that. But we have some, so in case you got onto a bus that you needed more than 2, we could throw a harness on there. And
Okay,
it's the same aspect.
okay.
We have like a half dozen of those.
Well, I know, it would be a hassle, but if there was an accident,
They
or a
work
bad
on
one,
it.
it certainly would help to
Same thing.
preserve
Pull the
life
shoulder strap, click in the middle.
and
it's
minimize
attached to the seat.
injury.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, there was, I
I
don't
think it'd be
know,
a real challenge to have the kids
oh,
make
it's,
them wear them.
For the bus driver, yeah.
yeah,
I don't know how you do that.
I know.
I'd have to have a lock, you'd have to lock them in, wouldn't you?
I know Grant County has a bus attendee that goes with the driver. I guess that person could just monitor up and down.
With every bus?
Yeah.
That's in their
Have an
levy.
aid on
It
every
was in their levy. Did they pass their levy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, about like 20, what, about,
20 couple
Super
days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
24 votes, I think it was.
I have a question. Do any of these estimates, like 20,000 for bus parts to Highway Motors, 160,000 to Miller and Sons for repairs. Riddleman, anyway, does any of this, and I know I've asked this and probably been told the answer more than once. Is any of that covered for, do we get reimbursed?
95%.
For all of that, for bus
95%.
parts, and I didn't know if that it counted for just new buses or,
95%.
okay.
Also, the charger that he was talking about will fall under that as well. So 95% of that will be reimbursed.
Gas.
Oh, gas for the buses? Oh, okay. So everything involved with transportation is reimbursed.
Remember how they said we
Yeah,
need to keep our
sometimes,
bus fleet up?
Right.
That's part
Not
of
anymore.
Everything else,
You want that.
transportation, as
Yeah.
long as it's students.
There were some schools that were getting 102%.
It has to be
Some of the
related.
real royal,
Transport
like
according to
Pendleton,
Yeah,
students,
and that's because of our
to
location.
be
Like,
reimbursed.
you
We
take
keep
Mon
running
County,
Fuel in
Cabot
our
County,
county vehicles
they
are
only
not
get like
subject- it's not
85%
subject to that.
reimbursable, 90% reimbursable.
So like
because they don't probably have as many kids or the
They're actually
length
instructional.
bus run.
Driver's ed cars.
Driver's ed cars, they're instructional, they don't count as transportation. So that does
What's,
not
your-
count.
what's our longest run?
But anything.
Probably
associated
Ronnie
with
Freed
transportation
goes
students.
all the way back into Crab Run. And then Randy Seger actually goes a couple miles into Virginia.
Including our
on
county
259 up past his house. We pick a girl up
Students,
at that
it's
old
just
gas
more-
station.
You know that Ernest Holder's house? I saw him the other day with Harrisonburg.
If that helps.
I thought he was-
Well,
I thought he was gone.
Yeah, I mean, 95% of $160,000 is a lot of money to get reimbursed.
Great. And it's a year later,
Which is why it's
2 years,
2 years.
2 years behind.
Okay. So we won't see any of that for
We're seeing money now from 2 years ago.
So there's always some coming.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, all those in favor, of the bus purchases signify by saying aye.
Alright.
Opposed, and motion carries 5-0. Now we're back to Sarah. About the audit.
Were they in their package?
Now, I guess we don't need.
It's a pretty colorful one, if you print it up, does anybody need these?
Oh,
We'll take it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
We look
Oh,
pretty.
my God.
Thank you.
Thank
Um,
you.
Mr. Hines doesn't have his print out over here, so he can have one of the pretty colorful ones.
Oh, there you go.
I was just giving you guys a comparison of the last couple of the last couple years that we've done the recap of these findings from the school level. That one? Sorry.
Okay.
You have those, so you don't need to do.
Have them all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, so she's chiseled a few away.
So in 1920, I just handed this out so you could see it, the ongoing versus the new, and these are just the findings at the school level. So the school level has always had its separate compilation of financial statements where they've gone in and they've compiled, the auditors, after doing our audits for the county here at the board office, have always gone out into the schools and done a compilation of their financial statements and looks through their books and just, double check things at the school level. 1 year ago in the audit, 22 was the year that they implemented GASB 84 that brought in, the school activity to the county audit. So we have to transfer all of the school activity into the county's numbers for the purpose of the audit only. And then they still continue to go out to the schools and do the compilation of the financial statements at the school level as well. So anyway, this is the compilation from the school. So they look at the segregation of duties and all of the, make sure there's 2 signatures on the checks, that they're following all of the school accounting procedures that we're required to follow at their level. So I printed you out the 1920 findings at the school level, the ongoing and what were new to the different schools during that year. And then the 2021, I tried to show what was ongoing new, and then in blue, I added what had been fixed from the prior year. And then continue to do the same with the 21-22 findings at the school level, and then the 22-23 findings at the school level. So I was pretty pleased with the result of the findings for the 22-23 school year. Segregation of duties is one of those that we are just, which is not financially feasible, but unless we were going to put an additional secretary in each school building, we're not going to get rid of the segregation of duties finding just because we have one person managing the office. Is something that's probably going to haunt us for years to come, as far as being a finding or being listed there. The 2 that East Hardy High School and Moorfield High School got with the individuals selling and collecting tickets, that's a hard one. According to the state code and accounting procedures, you can't have more than the same person do more than 5 games throughout the entire year.
No matter what sport.
No matter what sport, yeah. The entire year, the same person can only collect tickets for 5 games or 5 events, whatever you're doing. And that's so hard. We've tried to incentivize, with passes for certain event, if you could get more people to be involved and to do something like that. And that's just a difficult one that I don't know how we would potentially get rid of that one either. And I get the idea. The idea is you don't get somebody in there that gets comfortable with it, and after they've done it for, not that we do, I don't think that we have anybody that's done that, but that you don't get somebody in there that gets comfortable and realizes after they've done it, 15, 20 times, oh, I could, like it's to protect the schools is why they have it, but it's a hard, we have a lot of events at the school.
Are there any-
thing to carry out.
Right.
Are there any
So,
schools in the state that don't get written up for that? I don't see how you can get around it.
Some have clerks and
Really?
secretaries and accountants in the offices.
All
Some of them
counties,
have-
all
The
counties.
segregation of duties.
All
I don't know
counties
about
have
the
levies.
ticket thing.
Yeah,
Now, some
all that,
auditors,
yeah.
So is it
some auditors just don't know it. But other than that,
is it okay to use non-school personnel?
well, we do.
That's,
Doesn't matter. Yeah,
because I've seen that at games.
doesn't matter.
But are they limited to just like the others? Or like
Can't
some
be the
personnel?
same, yeah, volunteer, the same, yeah. More than 5 times.
And then, the other 2, which I've discussed with the elementary school over East Hardy, was the cash collections. I think they had one instance in the monitoring where the receipt wasn't sent to the bank within the amount of time, and one ticket reconciliation that was not completed properly, in all the testing. So I'm hoping that the quarterly, we've started meeting with the secretaries on a quarterly basis. I've started going out, I haven't maybe hit every month, but I've tried to go out to each one of the buildings on a monthly basis, and check things in the office and look over the stuff that they're doing. So I'm hoping that all of that has maybe contributed and we're getting things looking better.
You cleaned up a lot.
And we've got some good secretaries in here right now, so that helps too. But anyway, that was the result of that, and
Thank you, Sarah. And you're doing a good job with it. You're getting them nailed down. So there's, I agree. There's nothing else you can do.
Yeah, a couple of those, it's just, and I'm hoping, because segregation of duties is what hit us the last 2 years because of bringing the schools into the audit. And I'm hoping some of this also, with me being more present in the buildings and the offices and stuff, that we can remove that.
You're not the one who goes to jail, the principal's the one who goes to jail on this end.
Is that who goes to jail?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to keep us all out
Yeah,
of
I
jail.
was gonna watch there 1 year.
Okay, next we have, board members, superintendent discussion. No action may be taken.
I'll start if that's okay. Now, we have a letter from the Hardy County Public Library Commission, where they are requesting funding again. They are not requesting a specific amount. It just talks about the things, that they do with the money that we provide for them. It says it assists in purchasing reading and education materials for children, continuing the weekly story time, which promotes early literacy and aids in giving preschool children the opportunity to fine-tune small motor skills before starting school. Because of the program's success, we've recently extended it to the first Saturday of each month for those who find themselves unable to attend during the week, or for those whose enrollment in school now prevents them from attending. They have different music, dance, and entertainment activities that they do. So it just talks about, again, how they use the funding that we provide for them. In the past, we have provided $4,200, and I believe that in the budget that you approved, that's the amount that we approved, was the $4,200. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention and see if you had any reason to change, to put it on a future agenda item to change that amount, or if you just wanted to move forward with the amount that's been budgeted that we've given for the last few years. Okay, it has to
You
load.
have to get on the agenda, and get approved the amount, right?
You've already approved in the budget, because it's budgeted for, because we give it annually, so you don't have to approve the 4,200. And if you want to change the amount,
You would then.
we can certainly go ahead.
I just stick with what we've always done.
If everyone's good with that, we won't need to do anything further. Then I just want to get a feel for the crowd. Do you want that for your records? You're welcome. And then I wanted to share a couple of things with you. This is, we've talked a lot about legal costs. I'll just pass those down. And this is a confidential document, so we don't need to go into executive session because I won't read it out loud to you, but I just wanted to make sure that you knew kind of some of the things that were causing us greater expenses than normal with legal issues. And so I went through and gave you just an overview. Is that an extra? I gave you just an overview of the issues. The attorney Kim Croyle and the attorney Kayla Cook that we've used from Bold Rice, who I stuck with, because they've done the primary bulk of our work this year. I broke down the main items that each of those attorneys have completed for us. And then just to give you an idea, we spent a total of $87,874.87 this year. Typically, we would spend between 15 and 25 on an average year. On a really great year, we'll spend 10 or less. This was not a great year. These were some big items, and I wish I could say, well, we could have avoided them and handled them without an attorney, but we could not have. You couldn't have hired an attorney for that amount, but we were coming close to it for this past year. So our goal is certainly to go back down to a normal execution of our duties without having to call legal for the majority of the big things we did. The other thing that I wanted to share is the fee schedules. And so I gave you the 23 and then the 24. So the first one I think you have is the 24, which is the most current. And then the year before, I don't think they had gone up tremendously. The way that it works is when we call an attorney, you're automatically billed for a quarter of an hour. So 15 minutes is what you're billed for off the top. So whatever that fee is, we typically, for just calls and questions, we don't go over the 15 minutes. So I was telling them today, I said, I think we need to make sure we have a list, and when we call, we're gonna keep them on the phone for the
I
full
was just saying,
15
get you-
minutes
yeah.
and get our money's worth, because whether I talk to them for 2 or 14 minutes and 59 seconds, we're paying the same quarter of that hourly fee. And usually phone calls are 15 minutes or less. There are times when.
What about emails and such as that?
The emails they do, and if they calculate their own time. So when I send an email, however long it takes them to address and respond, they put that amount of time out from the bill, and that's how they bill us for that. So if it's a quick question, 15 minutes. If it's something else, sometimes it's 30, depending on if they have to do research or and the other people involved. But again, this year, I'm really hopeful will be much more manageable, but I wanted you to see that. The other thing, there's a policy to promote school board effectiveness. I would like to put this on the next agenda for you guys it's the same policy that you have. It's already been in place. It's been in place for years. There are no changes on the copy that you have. I laid it at your seat. But the policy, needs to be reviewed annually. So I wanted you to look at it and see if there were any changes that you thought would need to be made. If you think that there will be changes, then what we'll do is at the next meeting, we'll put it on the agenda to put it out for first reading and make any recommended changes you all would have. If not, we'll just put it on the next agenda for approval. But we have approved it since the last, I think it says August 1st each year. We've approved it since last August, so we're on track. We're gonna go ahead and jump back in there and get it annually reviewed. If you all, if you want to take a minute to read it and see if there's anything that you want. Or actually, you can take it home with you even and just let us know before the next posting if you see changes that need to be made, and we can certainly put it on there for you. Wanted to let you know that we shared the Board of Education member contact information with all principals, assistant principals, and secretaries, and asked them to share it out with the schools, with all of their staff. So that has gone out for the request, so they should know how to get a hold of you. I don't know if any of you all saw the virtual school interest link that I shared out on Facebook, but we sent that out on all the schools' Facebooks. I sent it out through notifications, email that we have in our system. And I've had 22 people fill out that form. Some of them have more than one child enrolled, but just to give you an idea, 10 of them are not currently enrolled students. People don't always follow the directions. So I have some folks who are already virtual students who filled the form out, which is okay. But 10 of them were not. 2 of those attended schools in other counties, and 8 of them are homeschool children. So 8 homeschool children interested in our virtual program, which is really good. We can hopefully get them signed up and enrolled. So that was another piece. Someone asked last week how many homeless students we had last year. For the 23-24 school year, we had 70 homeless students. That is not 70 that were homeless all year. That's a rolling list. So you might have one that's homeless for 2 weeks. That's counted as one of the 70. So as they reported to us in any way, they were added to the list. We met their needs the best we can with our resources, and then they're taken back off. But a 70 total.
What's the definition of homeless?
It would be anyone who is without shelter, living with another family, or living in a temporary housing situation. Motel, yep, that's correct. Shelter, any of those things. I think that's all I have. If you all have anything.
I was concerned, when I was looking at the dates, the important dates of the things we need to do, that we hadn't met with the LSIC committees like we normally do. But according to this, we only have to meet if we have low performance.
Correct.
And
we do not have any low performance.
right.
So we're good.
So meeting with the others is optional,
Correct.
but okay.
For sure. Yeah. And what we've done in the past, 5 years,
4 years?
We started having the principals come and give presentations on everything. You're welcome to have the LSICs if you would prefer to do it that way. You can do it either or, but we kind of switched it up to get, and I don't even remember the exact reason why, but the board at the time wanted to hear from the principal and get their take on how their schools were doing, so we just switched it. But, and I think too, that was at the time when the legislation changed and you no longer had to meet with all LSICs, only the ones, is that right, Mr. Hunt? Only the ones of the designated low performing schools. So that's your all's call. And you've got some time, so.
I personally like having the principals because they're ones that we can ask questions of who are accountable.
Right.
So,
The buck
Yeah.
kind of falls with them, doesn't it?
yeah, so
I think we found when we had the LSICs, and they would give nice presentations, they would always do a really nice job, but it was always the principal made the presentation and the LSIC chair would give the presentation, but you still had to ask questions to the principal because they're the ones that handle the operations daily, but.
Or if there was a little bit of, who's really in charge, sometimes who was in charge of that LSIC would maybe have some differing opinions but the LSIC committee has a huge amount of power and they just, no one's been able to, so far, and it doesn't seem that anyone's been able to get in and to,
Nobody wants to rock the boat.
well,
That's-
you're
that's-
probably true.
That's kind
They
of
don't
the deal,
wanna-
because you did, like I said, you have a tremendous amount of power. But no one, and I really wonder, are there any LSICs in the state that has really used the power that they have? Maybe in some of your, like in Morgantown, maybe in
Yeah.
Charleston or Honey, but I doubt most of your rural counties like us. It's not really.
The chairs of the LSIC have to have training this year, and so that's out.
They can-
It'll be-
Waivers, ask for waivers and policy changes and everything.
Textbook waivers.
That could be also painted, someone.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things.
What all they can do.
I am. Mhm.
I had two questions. Josh left, I was gonna ask him, or maybe you can ask for me. Our lift, is it broken down? I noticed we've been renting the lift occasionally, spent a couple $1,000 for the lift.
Yes, the cost to fix the issue with the lift was extremely expensive. And so renting the lift when we had several things was just a cheaper option for now. So we decided to go that route instead of it was like $8,000 or $9,000 to replace the part that was broken on the lift.
We've spent about two in the last couple of months.
Okay,
For lift rentals, it's something to look at.
for sure, we can have a membership.
The other one I was gonna ask you about, this, we had a couple tow bills for towing buses in,
Okay.
and then repair for damage on 2 buses.
Okay.
Wasn't sure what that was, bus 63 and then bus 67.
I don't know off the top of my head, but I'll find out.
Was it a deer or?
One was 2,600, and one was 650 to repair. Just want to make sure that accident reports and drug testing, all that was followed through if that was necessary.
Yeah, I'll find out for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of any accidents recently, but what are the dates on those?
Well, it was just Hayes, so.
Does it have an incident being noted?
Just Barbie's Hayes. One was the bus pulled out of a ditch. 2 other repairs and 2 other buses then.
Okay. All right, I'll get you the details. I don't want to give you anything incorrect, but I'll make sure I get you the exact information.
Anybody have anything else? Okay, future agenda items. Anybody have anything they'd like to? Okay, under announcements, our next board meeting will be August 5th here at the board office at 5 o'clock. Next up are mission statements and accomplishments. I've got a couple things. these magnets that the families are going to be getting and you get are really nice. And it's easy to understand when they're
Good. That's our goal.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. It's really easy to understand. So, and then the other thing I want to do is I want to give kudos to Melvin for serving as our president for the last 4 years. He's done an absolutely excellent job and,
Could have done without you.
Don't go out and make any rallies, don't attend any rallies.
get your earshot off. We can pierce up here for you.
I'm good.
But you have done
We'll
an
have to
excellent,
look you up.
you really
Like I
have.
said,
You-
could have done without you all.
You really stepped up and I hope I'm able to fill your shoes for a little while,
You will be.
so. Anybody else have anything?
I don't know, the other thing, chapter thing that she gave us,
You want to share that?
yeah.
It's just one copy.
It says the 2024 West Virginia FFA Convention has finally come to a close. 6 members attended the leadership conference and participated in various activities. Joe Revelman, Ransom Markwood, and Jackson Vetter competed in the tractor driving competition. Emily C. and Michaela Nesselrode served as the chapter as delegates. Jackson, Emily, Joe, Branson, and Ryan Poling received their state FFA degrees. Sadie Kreitz was also awarded her state degree. That's great.
That's a lot in 1 year, isn't it?
Yeah. Very good.
Was Joe running for
Yeah.
state office?
I'm not sure about
You have
that.
your, you have your record for
I don't
know.
your state.
He's
No.
awesome kid.
Oh, he is. He's the
Back
one
then,
who
it
took
wasn't
us
pushed.
around at,
Mr.
up to
Park
those
never pushed it.
texts.
He didn't get it.
Well,
He
and
is
out here
just
at the,
at
I
the,
think, not too. He's
right.
just a good boy.
Yeah, he is. He's gonna be a fine young man. It already is, but you know, he keeps developing.
He'll be a fun adult, is what you're saying.
Yeah, lots of good leadership skills and just real proud of him. Anybody have anything else? Okay, so we'll move on to personnel now. We didn't get a list, did we?
Yeah.
Okay, it's just stuff on my papers.
Not for me. Ready to proceed? Everybody good? And, I recommend the approval of the personnel actions as presented.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the recommended personnel actions. Are there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Alright.
Those that are against, same sign. It passes 5-0. I don't think we have any further business, so,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
okay, we adjourned at, okay,
Do you want these? I have no need to read it.
sure. Oh, yeah, I did give you guys, this is some stuff I looked up about R values for the phone. And, because they said it had a different way to do it and all that, so.
Tony, did